Following a recipe is an all-important part of brewing coffee. Whether you're making a pour-over, using an AeroPress, or pulling a shot of espresso, nothing feels better than following a recommended recipe perfectly. When you see that scale hit exactly the right weight at exactly the right time, woof, nothing feels better. Perfectly dialed, on recipe, caffeinated, in your lane. But then, despite your very best efforts, the next shot hits its target weight a whole 3 seconds early, and it tastes kinda different. It's the kind of thing that can send you into an existential crisis. What am I doing wrong? Do I even know anything about coffee? Okay, let's slow down. Is it even possible to pull your shot to the exact second and gram of your recipe every single time? Realistically, sadly, the answer is no. If you're wondering/pleading why, you're not alone. So why is it that I can easily nail the same pour-over day after day, but espresso perfection seems to evade me? And if perfection is impossible, how much inconsistency is normal, and how much is a sign that there's a problem that needs to be solved? Well, let's look at some of the factors that make espresso so finicky, look at what we can do to mitigate them, and figure out how close to perfect we can actually hope to get. There are a handful of things that make espresso so much more finicky than something like pour-over. As we've highlighted before, the process of brewing espresso is just intense. When you're grinding coffee super fine, compacting it, and throwing water at it with 9-bar pressure, you're creating a high-pressure environment both literally and figuratively. Inside that portafilter, water is desperate to find the path of least resistance, and no matter how hard you try, it will prevail. Comparing consistency in pour-over and espresso is like comparing extreme downhill mountain biking to your Sunday ride through the park. Thankfully, a bad day with the extreme sport of espresso doesn't involve a trip to the hospital. Usually. These fundamental physics of espresso also multiply the effect of any other potential cause of inconsistency. You can get away with a lot more when you're using a medium grind and letting gravity take its sweet time pulling your coffee through the gentle embrace of a soft paper filter. Stale coffee, imperfect distribution, an ill-suited grinder, or heavens forbid, pre-ground coffee can all easily give you swings of plus or minus 10 seconds on your shots. When it comes to espresso, that kind of variation can mean one kind of horrible for your first shot and an entirely different, deeper circle of horrible for your second. At that point, you might be better off just hitting the McDonald's drive-thru. Now, before we find that wretched clown that awaits us at the bottom of the pit of espresso nihilism again, there are thankfully things we can do to mitigate or sometimes even solve all of these issues. Getting good, fresh coffee is the easy part. Coffee from a few days to a month after the roast is ideal, and if you can't easily get that in your neighborhood, you should check out the selection we have available through MistoBox on our site. Channeling is the bane of any barista's existence, but with solid puck prep, you can almost entirely eliminate it. Simply using a WDT tool will get you almost all the way there, but using puck screens, shakers, and self-leveling tampers can help you lock down all of those pesky little variables. Even techniques as simple as RDT, throwing a few drops of water in with your beans before you grind them, can make a noticeable difference in consistency as we highlighted in a previous video. Throw in a solid grinder and proper coffee storage and you're already 9/10 of the way there. There are also machine-specific considerations to keep in mind. With a heat exchanger like this Luca X58, doing a full cooling flush will ensure that overheated water is out of the equation. Even using all of these opportunities for mitigating variability, you're still going to get variation. For instance, every once in a while, a shot will randomly take an extra 4 seconds. Despite whisking those grounds like a scrambled egg, you'll still see and taste the telltale signs of channeling. Those fundamental physics of espresso just truly can't be conquered. But listen to me, that's okay. Getting plus or minus 2 seconds of variation is totally feasible with a little attention to detail. And with most coffees, every shot in that range is going to taste great. Even in our lab using the nicest machines you can imagine, the beefiest grinders, and every puck prep tool under the sun, I'm still delighted and slightly shocked when I manage to pull 5 shots in a row that hit their target within less than a second of one another. It's possible, and you can pull out all the stops to get there, but just don't let that get in the way of enjoying your coffee. As with everything, espresso has diminishing marginal returns. If you enjoy the ritual of your 10-step routine, more power to you. But if you ever find yourself bummed and thinking you must be doing something wrong because your next shot was 3 seconds off the recipe, my best advice is take it easy. If anything, just let the high-pressure chaos that is espresso push you to cherish those perfect shots just that much more. Or just take a break and switch back to pour-over for a few days. I'm not proud of it, but I've been there. If this video helped soothe some of your fears of espresso inferiority, hit the like button. If you actually always pull your shots precisely to the 10th of a gram every single day, don't leave a comment. Actually, we don't want to hear about that. For more espresso experiments, subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching.